I'm Robyn Crane, and this is the Growing Your Financial Business the Woman's Way podcast. Listen, I was a financial advisor for over a decade, and I got so sick of the old archaic strategies that your grandpa used to get clients. What the industry teaches today is still so outdated and just doesn't work anymore. So I had to find a better way for myself, and then I got obsessed with sharing these how-tos with other women like me. The stuff I teach doesn't require giving up your life, your sanity, or your family time. I want women like you to have it easier than I had it, so you can thrive in the industry. I've now helped thousands of women grow their financial businesses to multiple six figures, some even seven figures per year. So on this podcast, you're going to get an inside look at how they did it so you can do it too. Let's dive into the show.
So last week I went to play tennis with my friend, and as we started to pass the ball and starting to warm up, I noticed there was an itsy bitsy spider on the left side of me that was very, very distracting. And today I'm going to talk about the importance of the lesson that I learned from this itsy bitsy spider. But to really start this off, I'm going to play a little song my daughter sang, none other than the itsy bitsy spider. And she's 21 months, but check this out. I think this was about a month or so ago. Here it is.
Itsy spider walk by the boat. By out. The sun died on the wings.
And the itsy
Itsy spider walk by the boat.
Oh boy, it's a never-ending song. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. So there's my daughter Sage singing that song for you in the car when we were in Hawaii a couple months ago. So there I was playing tennis with my friend, and I noticed this spider, and it keeps taking my attention. Like I keep looking at it, and like all I could think about was that I didn't want to step on the spider. Like I wanted to play. I didn't want to step on this poor spider, but I kept focusing on it. And so as I was focusing on this spider, I was messing up my, I kept hitting into the net, and I wasn't playing very well. We're just warming up. And so I'm like, I got to get rid of this distraction, got to get rid of this spider. And so I'm like, hold on a second, Cindy. And so I take my racket, I walk over there, and I start to just put the racket next to the spider, try to get the shadow and give it a little knock to move the spider over. And the spider moves a little bit. It's not a fast process. And I have tended to be maybe not the most patient person in the world. And so I'm like, come on, spider, I want to play tennis, get out of the way. And so I'm starting to go a little quicker to like nudge it out of the way, a little like knock here and like push it, and then before I know it, oh my God, there I go. And I kind of scoop it out to the side, and I squished the spider. And now it's like all contorted, this spider, and it's still moving. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just completely hurt the spider. And like the spider's not going to live from that. And so now I'm like, oh, now what do I do? Because I just basically am making the spider suffer, and I'm feeling horrible. And so then I just do the worst thing ever. But like I just had to take it, like get him out of his misery. And I stepped on the spider and took it off the court. And I was like, oh my gosh, like exactly what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to kill the spider. And instead, I literally just went over and killed the spider. I'm like, oh, and then I couldn't get over it. Like I kept thinking about it. Oh, that poor spider. And then because I'm really working on my mindset, and I tend to do this, I was like, I kept saying in my head, like everything is happening for a reason. That spider maybe was going to die today anyway. I'm trying to make myself feel better and still completely distracted. And I'm like, what? Why is this happening? Like, what is this lesson? I know it's just a spider, but like, I kept thinking like, what is the lesson here? What is the lesson here? How is this going to help other people? Because I killed a darn spider. And the only thing I could think of is that telling that story is somehow going to help you, because there's always a lesson. There's always a lesson. So what I realized is that what really happened there was that I kept focusing on this distraction. And you're doing this in your business every single day. You're doing this where you get distracted by something, and you let your attention go there, and you're focusing on something that you don't want versus focusing on what you do want. So imagine your goals. What is it that you want to do this year as far as your revenue, maybe as far as your clients, as far as the fulfillment in your life, what you want your life to look like, what you want your business to look like. And you got to focus on that. It's like, I got to focus on hitting the ball over the net. If I'm focusing on the net, I'll hit it in the net. Focus on hitting the ball over the net. Focus on where I want to hit it, the corner, or I want to hit it to the side, or I want to hit it across court. I want to hit it down the line. I got to focus on where I want the ball to go. And what you may notice if you ever play tennis is that if you stop looking at the ball and you start thinking about, like, you focus on where you want to go, you're thinking about that. But if you raise your head and you stop looking at the ball, you'll mess it up too. Okay. So you got to focus on what you want, the ultimate goal. I want to make, whether it's $100,000 a day, $100,000 a week, $100,000 a month, $100,000 a year, or maybe opposite, $100,000 a year. That's your big goal. Okay, cool. So whatever it is that you want to do, whatever your revenue goal is, you need to understand what that is. You need to focus on that. That's what's going to happen. But then you must focus on what's driving that action. So what is driving that result? In the case of this analogy that I'm using, in the case of tennis, it's, I got to look at the ball. I got to see what is driving that action. I got to have my hand, the way I'm holding the ball. I got to have the right grip. I got to hold it in a way that's going to drive that end result. Okay. Instead of focusing on the distractions, instead of focusing on what's not working, instead of beating yourself up and thinking about all the things you're not doing right, or focusing on all the things getting in your way. What's getting in my way? That darn spider. What's getting in my way? The fact that, my company's not teaching me how to get leads. What's getting in your way? Oh, the fact that I have to still homeschool my kids, or I got to, I have a sick kid, or I have, whatever's going on in your life that's pulling you away. So what is it that you want in your business? And then you got to know the end result. I'm just going to repeat a little bit. And then what is it that's driving the business? Okay. That is extremely important. Most people, almost every single financial advisor or woman who comes to me, or insurance professional who comes to me, they're focusing on way too many things. They're trying to do way too many things instead of saying, like, okay, here's what's really driving the business. What's driving the business is, let's just say it's referrals. Okay. We did this 7-step marketing plan at our last FEM event. I have a group called FEMs, Female Empowered Moneymakers. And at the last virtual event that we did, I had a 7-step marketing plan. In fact, if you want to get that, just shoot an email to support@robyncrane.com. Put the word marketing plan. We'll get that to you. We're kind of compiling it now. By the time you listen to it, we should be able to get it to you. So we'll give that to you. And we'll even give you the accompanying training that I did with my clients. Okay. So we'll give you all of that. And then you'll be able to know what I'm talking about. But we talked about this 7-step marketing plan that I went over with them. And what I told them was, like, let's start by capturing all the clients you got last year. Okay. So let's take the last 12 months and say, who are those clients that I got? Okay. And if you got 100, you could take the top 20. Okay. The ones that you want to, what I call clone or duplicate. But we're looking at, here are this is what drove the business. Let's say your top 80% even. Okay. So this is what drove the business. This is what resulted in me getting the revenue that I got. And if it's not where you want it to be, we got to get more marketing going. We got to get, more and better results to get you there. Right. So we're starting to look at, which clients did I get last year? Now, if you're just starting, you got to obviously start with new strategies, because you didn't do anything. Maybe you're new and you started a month ago. Okay. And then all you got to do is you can follow what your company tells you, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend, or you can follow some of my strategies, which of course I would recommend. But that will get you there faster. So if you look at the clients that you got last year, especially the top 80%, let's say, and you look at where did they come from? Like, what was the source? How did you get them? Was it a referral? Was it you got them from putting up a Facebook post? Most likely no. Was it that you did one of the strategies I teach, book interviews or something like that? Outreach. What is it that drove that person to have that conversation with you to begin with? Okay. So first we're looking at what worked. Then we want to look at, how much did you make from that client, or will you make in the first 12 months? Okay. Because the way that your business is, you're not usually getting paid everything up front, whether it's a commission or whether it's AUM and it's extrapolated over a year. I want you to think about that 12 months, just because we want to make sure, just because you didn't get paid like everything right away, it kind of still counts towards what's going to happen over the next 12 months in order to reach a 12-month goal. Okay. You're going to have to potentially do more than you think if you say, I want to make 100 grand, and you're saying, like, I made 10, I'm just going to do really super easy math. I got 10 clients at 10,000 each. And so you made your 100 grand. Okay. But you didn't get paid all of that. Well, if you want to get paid 100 grand in 12 months, you got to get everybody right away, or you got to do 20, let's say, just to make sure the money hits. Okay. So consider that. But for right now, step one was basically like, let's just look at, well, where did your client, what clients did you get? Where did they come from? How much did you make from those clients? Okay. Then we got to see, well, what was the marketing activity that got them there? So what did you do? So some people did nothing and you just got referrals. Okay. Some of my clients, they did the book interview strategy and got clients there. Some, maybe they got referrals from centers of influence. So like, we can now be intentional to create these. There's a bunch of other steps. It's obviously 7 steps, but the gist is, what is driving those people to you? What's driving the business, which is actually driving the revenue. Okay. And that's where we're focusing. That's what we're focusing on, not on all the things that didn't work and all the distractions getting in your way, which I know happen, but we got to stop focusing on them or you're going to kill it. Kill the spider. You get the analogy. Okay. But it's going to get in your way and distract you from what's really driving the business. Okay. So once you do that, you now can start to say like, well, what is working? Let's just say it's referrals and you did nothing or you hardly did anything to get those referrals. Well, how can you create that in an intentional way? How can you create a system? How can you double down on that? How can you do it more? You basically optimize it so that it works to get you a bigger result. And it's always, I'm telling you, it's always to do less in order to get a bigger result. And I can't believe this because my pattern is to tend to want to do a ton of things, get a lot of people's help and constantly change things because, I don't know, I'm kind of variety driven and I like excitement and I'm a visionary. But when it comes down to it's the boring stuff that always gets the big results. I'm like, okay, what drove the business? And I can look at my business. And I was doing this morning, actually, because I'm constantly going back and actually what typically drives my business is Facebook ads. We have a ton of Facebook ads. In the last few months, Facebook ads has just not been working well. And I'm like, man, like I'm just investing a ton of money in the consulting and Facebook ads, and it's not really working. What is working that maybe I don't have to invest quite as much money that I could, at least for the next few months, while I'm optimizing my Facebook ads and getting it back underway so that I'm doing it well, I could just make sure to keep making money. And I'm like, okay, well, what drove the business? We had a tag challenge last year that was very successful. We had thousands and thousands, over 4,000 or 5,000 women who joined the tag challenge. You might've heard of it. And we're paused that for right now, but we have a tag challenge and that worked to get clients, right? Because we provided so much incredible value. What else worked? So you should be doing this as I'm telling you what worked, what were the drivers in your business that got you results. And maybe there's only one, maybe there's two. It's better if there are fewer because then there are fewer things you need to optimize. So I'll take out my notes and share with you real quickly and send you on your merry way. But tag challenge, that worked. Another thing that we did, we have events. We actually have an event coming up. You can send a message to support@robyncrane.com if you want to know about this event. It's called PYFP, Positioning Yourself for Profits. And that event's coming up. That worked because, again, in this case, we did a 3-day event. Now we're going to do it virtually only. We had a hybrid event last year. 3-day event. We provide so much value. It's incredible to position yourself for profits. That's getting, that obviously got us clients. What else? We have a list. Most of you don't have much of a list. You might have some clients on your list or prospecting. It's a big thing in the digital marketing world to build a list because then you have people that are kind of in your world. You keep providing value. It's all about the value, right? You keep providing value, keep providing value, keep providing value. And then you can drive them to a call to drive them into, to working with you. Okay. The last thing I did, the big one was live webinars. And we actually were running on Facebook just recently, which I was mentioning wasn't working, was a recording of that webinar. The live webinar worked, but the actual, what we call evergreen webinar that was recorded did not. And mostly because of many reasons, but it did not work. But I'm writing down what worked. I'm focusing on what worked, not focusing on what didn't work. So if you start with that list of, well, where'd your clients come from? What was the source? What drove them there? What was the path or the journey of the client? And then how much did you make? So we can do some money math and reverse engineer it and be like, okay, now I can backtrack this and say, if I want to make 100 grand this year, then I need to get, I like that rule of 10 where you're like, I just need 10 clients and to make $10,000 from each of those clients. Okay, I call it the rule of 10, because you're on this quest to just get 10 ideal clients as opposed to trying to get everybody and anybody that has a pulse. Okay, so there are a lot of nuggets in there, I know, but I want you to take from it a couple things. Here are your big takeaways for today, for this lovely, lovely podcast. Is number one, don't focus on the distractions. There will be distractions. Don't focus on them. Focus on where you want to go and the drivers, that what is driving the business to get there. Okay. And number two, take a look at specifically, how did you drive the business last year or the last 12 months? What were the successful drivers in the business? Let's look back, just kind of like past performance does not predict future results, but it sure does give you an indication of what could happen. And how can you double down on what worked? How can you optimize it? And if things didn't work and you just spent a ton of time, then you need new strategies. I have those strategies, and my clients are they're doing both. They're doing what worked last year and they're doubling down on those things like that maybe they were doing even before, like with referrals. And we actually have in our community, we have someone coming. We have 2 people coming. And actually, I'm going to bring at least one of those people, if not both of them, to the podcast, but to talk about referrals and how to get referrals very intentionally. And we are bringing that to our community because we need to figure out how to double down on that and get more referrals. But what worked in the past, something like referrals, that maybe you didn't even do anything, it just kind of happened naturally. Well, now we want to be intentional, make it happen. And then maybe adding an additional strategy that worked. Like in our community, we know this interview strategy works. That's one of them. We have a clone your client strategy that works. We have all these we have exclusive events that work. So we know these strategies, but you got to pick one to start. You got to do it well, create a system, make sure it's actually predictable where you're getting clients. If you do X amount of activity or X amount of time or X amount of money, that you will get whatever result. And you do that and you do that and you do that and you optimize. Okay. So one other thing I will give you is that if you are not already in our Facebook group, we actually named it the same. So because it's very similar type of stuff, Growing Your Financial Business the Woman's Way, look that up and get in the Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group. And I am all about building the community this year. I really want this to just grow and grow and grow, to have women in this industry be successful. And we're so focused on providing so much value. So get in that group if you're not already there. Growing Your Financial Business the Woman's Way. That's a Facebook group. And I'm going on live right now. I'm going on live twice a week, and we're posting, Monday through Friday. We're not doing the weekends. We're not doing the weekends, but Monday through Friday, we're posting every day. It's either a training, a Facebook Live, something of value. So it really is incredible. So get in there. I'm sure if you just look in Facebook, Growing Your Financial Business the Woman's Way on Facebook, you'll get in there and I could actually meet you and see you there. Okay, that would be really cool. Please send me a comment. Say you just listened to the podcast and now you're here, and actually introduce yourself, get involved. Okay, we're just starting to kind of reignite it. So I need you to actually be involved so we have some momentum there and we can keep bringing you more and more value. Thanks for tuning in on the podcast today, and we will see you next time.
Are you getting all the quality prospects on your calendar that you'd like? If not, join us in the Appointment Generator Challenge. Go to femalefinancialadvisors.com and register for free. We guarantee you'll get 5 quality appointments in 5 days if you follow this system. And you can do it from online. You don't even have to pick up the phone. Whether you're just starting, whether you've been in the industry 3 to 5 years, or even 30 years, this challenge will be perfect for you. Check it out, femalefinancialadvisors.com, and register for absolutely free. Can't wait to see you there.